What up, everybody? Welcome back to another sports talk with your boy, Troppy Boy. Today we're going to be talking about what I think should happen to the Toronto Raptors. So as you guys have been watching, Cavs struggled through the first round. Everyone doubted them against Toronto, and yesterday they closed out the series. Pull out the, I don't have one in here, but pull out the brooms. The sweep. Toronto was the number 1 seed for the first time in franchise history. This is the third year in a row that the Cavs have knocked them out of the playoffs. It's the second year in a row that they've swept them. As far as I'm concerned, they probably need some shaking up, some new mental, just some freshness. Obviously, Lowry and DeRozan are good players, are the two franchise staples there, but they're never going to beat LeBron. So in my assessments of those two players, so Lowry, as far as I'm concerned, he's gritty, he plays solid. No one expects him to get too many buckets. I mean, this year he averaged 17 and 6. So, I mean, respectable numbers. He was an all-star. He's been an all-star the last 4 seasons, but I kind of think that's only because he plays in Toronto and he has an entire country to vote for him. And I was totally cool with his play until I looked at his contract. Kyle Lowry, if I'm not mistaken from what I looked, he's number 6 on the list for the highest amount of money that he's making this year. He makes about $28 million. So in terms of output for salary, I don't feel like he's worth how much they're paying him with comparable players like LeBron. Durant makes less, Curry makes a little bit more. He's not up there. If you're going to pay him that much, you need better results. He makes more than DeRozan, and personally, I feel like DeRozan is more of the franchise player. He's their scorer. He's got more skills than Lowry. He has more potential to carry the team, and he's only getting paid $27 million. He's on a 5-year deal. Lowry's on a 3-year deal, so in the long run, DeRozan will make more money. But in a league of NBA stars, these two stars are not good enough. So as the franchise player this year, DeRozan averaged 23, 5, and 4 in the regular season. I don't know his total playoff production, but I know the first few games against the Cavs, he played alright, but in Game 3, he went 3 for 12, and he didn't even play the last 14 minutes of the game, in which the Raptors stormed back and almost came all the way back to tie it. Obviously, LeBron hit the buzzer beater, but he wasn't on the floor the entire time. And then Game 4, he had a mediocre game. He got the flagrant 2, which I personally think was probably more of a flagrant 1. Anyways, he got ejected, so just all around, Cavs were able to stymie DeRozan pretty good in the series. Then you got Dwayne Casey. Whenever teams struggle or don't get to where they want to be, a lot of times the blame will go to the coach. Should you fire him? Should he be on the hot seat? Ty Lue just said that for him to be on the hot seat is ridiculous. I didn't read the article, but I'm sure it has something to do with they were the number 1 seed in the East. That would be weird to fire a coach who just accomplished that. But it's also an interesting and dynamic league in the sense that, if you're not on your way to the championship, then we need to abandon ship and restart. Dwayne Casey seems more of a system guy, and he has players that run a good system, but in my opinion, in order to win championships, you gotta have stars on your team, and I just don't think DeRozan and Lowry are good enough stars to get them where they want to go, to beat LeBron, to beat anybody in terms of championship caliber teams. So when DeRozan didn't play those last 14 minutes, I was like, man, this is going to cause a whole bunch of ruckus. Their best player isn't playing and they're doing better without him. They're going to use this against him, and is he going to get traded? I don't know. In terms of Lowry and DeRozan, you probably want DeRozan more because DeRozan's capable of doing more things on the floor for you. It's harder for a 6', 205-pound player to really influence the game in a ton of ways. In my opinion, Lowry is getting paid way too much money for the production he's getting. Him and DeRozan both get to use 4-time All-Star game players, yet I just think they're from Canada, and so they're getting the entire country's vote, so I think that is a little diluted. If the Raptors want to go anywhere, you're going to have to make some changes. Cool, you were number 1 in the East, but the last 3 years you're getting knocked out by LeBron. Who knows what LeBron's going to do this summer, so maybe you don't want to jump ship totally yet. But even if you make it to finals, I just don't think DeRozan and Lowry are good enough stars to take you over the top. maybe use one or the other to try to trade, bring in another star, or I don't know how many stars who are trying to go to Toronto, so it's probably hard to like pull some guys up there to play with them. But on another note, I think as fans we get kind of spoiled. Like, Toronto's been good for the last 3-4 years, and so if you're not winning championships though, everyone's like, oh, we need to trade, we need to fire our coach, we need to do this, that, or the other, when it's like, you guys are a good team. You don't have LeBron on your team, you don't have necessarily a superstar on your team, but you guys just were first in the East. Maybe if you guys fire your coach or make a rash decision to trade DeRozan or something of that nature, and then all of a sudden for the next 5 years you have a junk team. So what is the best thing to do? I'm not totally sure. I just don't think right now Lowry and DeRozan are the ones that take you over the top. Plus, I just think overall the last 3 years losing to the same team in the playoffs, getting swept the past 2 years, it's got to take a mental toll. So somehow they got to shake it up this offseason. They got some interesting decisions to make. That's just my 2 cents on the Toronto Raptors this offseason. So thanks for watching. Leave some comments. Not necessarily a very controversial topic, but just wanted to leave some thoughts. Go Cavs. Peace.